Hello, welcome to Granada Reports, live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello on the programme this evening.
From perilous landings to promenades underwater, to parents and children battling gale force winds, the northwest takes a battering from Storm Eunice.
I didn't know it was going to be this windy, you know what I mean? I've never seen anything like this.
Putting themselves in harm's way, how coastguards had to clear thrill seekers from the storm-battered waterfront in Wirral.
And with the impacts of Storm Eunice still being felt across the northwest, we have further unsettled weather ahead in the forecast, with warnings in place. Join me later for all the details.
And we'll be hearing how our region's emergency services have been coping.
Also on the programme, warnings about the rare form of cancer caused by having implants. We'll be hearing Marie's story.
A Super League debut for Wizzy Rascal. Mystery surrounds the identity of the buggy-driving ball carrier. And unmasked, Denise Van Outen tells us about going from contestant to judge as the Masked Singer goes on tour. So first, it's been a day of high winds and a wave of emergency incidents caused by Storm Eunice. Yeah, as we go on air tonight, we're hearing that more than 3,000 homes in the northwest are without power. We've had cancelled and reduced train services, no ferries running, roads closed and trees felled.
We've not seen the devastation suffered by parts of the southwest and Wales, but still, it's been a day of non-stop action for the emergency services on the coast and inland.
We'll have the very latest from the region's Fire Brigade Control Centre in Warrington shortly, and we'll also be live from New Brighton, which saw a big tidal surge earlier today.
Joe will also be tracking the weather and looking ahead to the weekend, but we start with a report by Mel Barham on how the region responded to the second named storm in a matter of days.
The wrath of Eunice took its time to hit the northwest, but by this afternoon she'd struck with a ferocity not seen for decades. Storm gusts almost blew these children off their feet in Southport. This tree wasn't so lucky.
I didn't know it was going to be this windy, you know what I mean? I've never seen anything like this.
The wind was just trying to take everything away down the street. No, it's just, I've never seen it, it's just unbelievable.
This was Crosby in Liverpool as strong winds combined dangerously with the high spring tide. Meanwhile, in Peel on the Isle of Man, nature's power was on full display as spray cascaded over the harbour walls. In Warrington, this was the moment the River Mersey breached its banks, flooding the footpath below.
I've never seen the water level rise as quickly as it has done today. The speed in which this flooded, was quite exceptional to watch.
We've got 24/7 responders out in the field, so they'll be operating, setting up temporary barriers, they'll be operating floodgates, clearing any debris blockages from watercourses as well.
Across the region, travel was severely disrupted, with warnings for people to stay home. This lorry was blown over on the M56 near Lymm, while speed limits were in place here on the Thelwall Viaduct. Ferries between Douglas and Heysham were cancelled, so too were trains. This fallen tree causing problems near Wallasey, whilst this one came down between Stockport and Manchester. Avanti West Coast cancelling all remaining services tonight.
We're working really hard to clear debris out of the way as quickly as we can, but inevitably there's going to be a lot of disruption. My advice to passengers is firstly not to travel, but if you do have to travel, to prepare for long delays and to check with your operator before you leave to make sure that the train is actually going to run.
Meanwhile, at Manchester Airport, the skill of pilots was being tested to the limit. Around 10% of flights were cancelled. In Atherton, this gable end was reduced to rubble, whilst in Manchester city centre, it was a battle at times to stay upright. A battle these trees in Chorlton and Bolton lost. Whilst in Victoria Park in South Manchester, another tree causing even more damage. And it's not over yet. With more bad weather forecast for the weekend, we're being warned to stay alert. Mel Barham, ITV News.
So, a day of action for our emergency services. Our reporter Sarah Rogers is at the region's Fire Service Control Centre in Warrington now. Sarah, a very busy day there.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike, and feeling very lucky to be inside, actually. The last time it was this busy, it was bonfire night, so that gives you a scale. Here, I can show you the availability map. So this is Lancashire, and any of the red patches means that there are no crews available there, so it means that if something were to happen, they would have to be rerouted to come and cover that incident. Now, how it works here in the control centre is that you would have call handlers answering Lancashire over there, Manchester here, and behind me it would be Cheshire and Cumbria, but today they've just been answering all the calls, including helping brigades in the south where the storm has really hit. Now, I'm going to borrow Laura Wood, who is the team leader here. Sorry to interrupt you, I know you're really busy, but how has today been compared to normal?
It's been very busy. It's what we call spate conditions, so it's receiving a large amount of calls in such a short space of time. So, for example, today we've taken 200 more calls at this particular point in the day than what we did do yesterday.
And incidents are much higher as well.
Yeah.
What have you been called out to deal with?
A lot of weather-related incidents, special service calls, what we call special service calls, so trees falling onto houses, lots of dangerous structures. We've had a couple of HGVs that have blown over on the motorway as well that we've attended to.
So some pretty serious things there. How are you coping dealing with all those extra calls?
It's fine. We've got a great team here in North West Fire Control, so we were fully prepared for it. We had plenty of weather warnings in place, so we were able to, get the right resources in just in time.
Now, there are some calls that you get that you just simply can't help with.
Yeah.
Tell me what those are.
So yeah, unfortunately we can't attend to every incident just due to the sheer amount of volume of calls, but also incidents that we generally can't attend to are things like trampolines in the street that we generally get off members of the public. So we would only urge members of the public to call us in real life situations, emergencies.
Well, thank you very much. I will let you get on. You're really,
really
busy.
Thank you.
So things like trampolines blowing in the street, they are real calls that they've had today that they just simply can't deal with because it's threat to life. So the message here is don't call unless you really need to. Now, the night team is going to be taking over here in just under an hour's time. Things have quietened down. I know they're going to hate me for saying that. And they are hoping that through the night things stay that way.
Yeah, let's hope that's the case. Sarah in Warrington, thank you very much.
Well, next, there were extensive advanced warnings about the dangers of Storm Eunice, but still, some people decided to put themselves in danger as the winds increased on our coastline.
Our correspondent, Elaine Wilcox, has spent the day in New Brighton on the Wirral, where coastguards had to clear people from the waterfront as waves came over the top of the seawall.
Despite the warnings to stay away from coastal areas, still people came right to the water's edge in New Brighton to see the impact of the storm themselves and capture the waves on camera. Strong winds from Storm Eunice and a high tide makes this a dangerous combination with waves of up to 10 metres high. Incredibly, the Coast Guard had to move people away from the water's edge, oblivious to the dangers, putting themselves and others at risk. 3 swimmers who stripped down to their trunks were caught by the Coast Guard as they attempted to take a dip in the rising waves and were made to get out of the water. Large parts of the promenade were closed because of amber warnings right across Merseyside and a risk of flooding.
Were you having to move? Yes. But it's the fun. Everyone loves watching it, so it's one of them things. You keep the distance, of course, but I was in there as well, so...
What did the Coast Guard say?
Just move along, please.
So the water came up over this lake.
Sandra Coste knows how dangerous the rising waters can be after the exact spot flooded here in 2011.
Yes, it was quite an experience at the time.
So what's made you come out today?
Because I meet friends here in the morning and I was going to go by 12:30 when I think the big storm's coming in. Yeah.
As the winds picked up, businesses started to close. This cafe owner concerned about his staff getting home.
There's a lot of old buildings, so a lot of loose tiles, a lot of debris coming out. So, yeah, just get them home, get them safe.
At West Kirby, the promenade was battered by Storm Eunice, with the waves overtopping the seawall. This was billed as the most significant weather event in decades, but seasoned watchers say it hasn't lived up to its billing.
Had far, far worse than this. 2012, I think it was the last one.
So would you just describe this as winter weather in Wallasey?
Yes, absolutely.
The winds picked up throughout the day and people were being urged not to put themselves at risk and to stay indoors until Storm Eunice has passed.
Well, I think swimming would be absolutely the last thing that I would be thinking about
Yeah.
doing today. And Elaine is still in New Brighton for us this evening. But Elaine, is it a little bit calmer now?
Well, the tidal surge and the sea spray may have died down, but the wind certainly hasn't died down yet. It is still very difficult to walk around, and we've seen lots of people being blown off their feet and car doors going flying. Thankfully, it has been much quieter on the seafront after the actions of the Coast Guard, keeping people away after people were gathering earlier to take photographs and some even trying to venture into the sea. But people are heeding those warnings. For businesses, cafes and restaurants, it has been limited trade this afternoon, and we've heard that a sellout show this evening at the Floral Pavilion has had to be cancelled because the cast couldn't get here and it simply wasn't safe to go ahead. We've also lost count how many people have told us that these conditions here in New Brighton in winter aren't really that unusual, and they've seen it a lot worse, but at least the hail and the rain has stopped for now.
All right, Elaine, make sure you go and get yourself a nice cup of tea and warm up. Thank you.
Well, let's get the very latest on the storm's progress, shall we? And join Joe at the weather desk. Joe, please tell us the worst is over.
Thankfully, Mike, I think it is now. Eunice is moving off and away towards Scandinavia, taking with it the strongest of the winds. Record-breaking gusts on the Isle of Wight just this morning of 122 miles an hour. So it has been an incredibly powerful storm. For us here in the northwest, I think it's all been in the preparation. Hopefully everybody watching at home is safe. And that's really because I think everyone's just catered to that today and perhaps not travelled. We have seen lorries going over, trees down, and we've seen gusts quite widely across the northwest in excess of 60 miles an hour today. And unofficial gusts of around 85, 86 miles an hour, which is incredibly strong. These gales continue for a time this evening, but things are getting better. So it's been a very powerful storm. Over the next couple of days or so, well, no more storms, but a really nasty day to come on Sunday. Sunday night, wet and windy. We have warnings in place in the forecast, and tonight we're looking at ice. So lots to look forward to, I'm afraid.
Thanks, Joe. All good news there.
So some breaking news to bring you in relation to the storm, and a man has died after debris struck the windscreen of a van in Netherton on Merseyside this afternoon. The man, who was in his 50s, was a passenger in the vehicle. Police say inquiries are ongoing. More details on that very sad development when we get them.
For more of the day's news now, and a teenager has pleaded not guilty to murdering a schoolgirl in Liverpool. 12-year-old Ava White was stabbed in the city centre after watching the Christmas lights switch on in November. A 14-year-old boy, who can't be named for legal reasons, admitted possessing a knife. He will now stand trial in May.
Police are warning about potentially lethal tablets circulating on the Wirral. Officers in Birkenhead believe they're likely to cause collapse, spasm and even death, and are being illegally traded in the town centre. The pills are yellow and blue, 5mm in diameter, and have MSJ printed on them.
Well, next tonight, and to a cancer diagnosis, which we all know can be devastating, but people are now being warned that medical implants could potentially cause a rare form of the disease.
Yes, that's what happened to Marie Bloom. Marie is a nurse from Droylsden in Greater Manchester. She had implants after having surgery for breast cancer.
Well, now she's been told that the implants themselves have triggered a relatively unusual type of cancer. Experts say it's very rare, but could become more common as more and more people have implants for medical and cosmetic reasons.
Our reporter, Tasha Kachiri, went to meet her.
Recovering from major surgery. 10 years ago, Marie was diagnosed with breast cancer. She opted for a mastectomy and reconstruction with implants. But 2 days before we met, her implants had to be taken out. She'd been diagnosed with cancer again, but this time a new type called breast implant-associated anaplastic large cell lymphoma, BIA-ALCL for short.
Everything I've done has been preventative, and I've got cancer from something that I was given and offered for reconstruction purposes.
How does that make you feel?
Upset, angry. I've tried to fix the solution in having breast cancer by getting immediate reconstruction so I could continue getting on with my life and like being there for my children. And I put myself and my family back in a situation where cancer has been brought back into the family.
When you were offered the reconstruction, were you ever told of any risks?
There was other things they'd warned about, infection and lymphoma, but as far as I'm aware, I cannot remember anybody ever mentioning anything about BioALCL. I'm a nurse myself and I've never heard of it.
Marie's cancer is very rare. In the UK, 1 in 15,000 people who get implants could develop this form of cancer. If you compare that to breast cancer, 1 in 8 women get breast cancer in their lifetime. Marie's type of cancer grows in response to the body's reaction to a breast implant. But there is some good news. Removing the implant can usually cure the cancer. Professor Suzanne Turner is the UK's leading expert in this field. Do people need to be worried?
I don't think people need to be worried. I think people need to be aware that this is a possibility. Women with breast implants need to be checking their breasts, much like they would do anyway for breast cancer. So looking for any abnormal signs, any sudden swellings, any lumps or bumps that aren't normally there. Anything like this that concerns somebody who has breast implants should then go to their GP for some advice.
Marie says people need to be more aware of the risks surrounding breast implants.
I wouldn't have had a type of reconstruction that could cause cancer had I have known that it could happen with the implants.
What would you say to people who want to get breast implants?
I can't tell people not to get implants. It's every person's got to make their own decision. Just know the risks that are involved there. It could be a quick fix for you for now and give you a bit of confidence, but are you prepared to have more surgery down the line?
Marie is now cancer-free and says she wouldn't have been able to cope without the love and support of her friends, family and fiancé Earl. Tasha Kachiri, ITV News, Joylston.
Yeah, and a big thank you to Marie for sharing her story with us.
On to sport now, and today those two enemies, Kell Brook and Bolton's Amir Khan, came face to face one last time before their fight in Manchester tomorrow. Who's winning the mind games, Chris?
Well, Kell Brook is definitely the most angry of the two men. Amir Khan has certainly got under his skin. That could give him the psychological edge. But what about physically? It's been a long time since either of them have stepped into a ring. Today we got to see what shape they're in as they stared each other down at the weigh-in. Two former world champions in the final rounds of their career, settling an old score. Amir, when I say the words Kell Brook to you, how does it make you feel?
It feels like I want to hurt him, I want to beat him.
When I say Amir Khan to you, how does it make you feel?
Angry.
Where does it come from, that anger?
It just comes from disrespect. He thinks he's better, I think I'm better, and it's just built up over years, and I want to get in and prove to everyone that I'm the better fighter.
But we see a lot of this in boxing. Sometimes it's just panto. How real is this for you?
This is very real. This is very real. And me and Kell do not like each other. It is real. And we've not liked each other for a very, very long time.
Where does that come from your perspective?
You know what? It comes from him just envying my career. The disrespect, the trash talking he's always given, the bitterness he's had. I mean, he's not a nice guy. And I wanna shut him up for good.
The demand for this confrontation is one of the greatest ever seen in British boxing. All 21,000 tickets sold out in 10 minutes for two fighters who may be past their prime, but still have fans on the edge of their seats, even in the dugout.
Honestly, I think it'll be too close to call. You don't know what condition. Obviously, they both haven't fought for a while now. I think both at the peak. I think Amir Khan would win. It'll be 10 years too late.
Give us a sense of what's at stake here. Does the loser face retirement, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, me and Kell are both 35. I'm going to send him to retirement. That's what my goal is. The beating he gets, he'll always remember that beating.
While the top of the bill is about a grudge, the supporting act is about a quest. Uruguay's Chris Namos stands between Liverpool's Natasha Jonas and the world title she craves. Twice she's missed out by fractions and is still haunted by the first one when she had to break the news to her daughter Mila.
As I was about to leave, she said, "Mum, make sure you bring the belt back." I was like, "Babe, I will do." I believe I was unfortunate not to get the decision that day, so that was even more disappointing. And then when I got in, she said, "Mum, did you bring the belt?" And I was like, kind of, babe. So yeah, it's really important to me to show her the reward of working hard and never giving up, and what you can achieve when you do that.
Dreams held for decades will be ruined or realised within minutes, and the judges' scorecards might not be needed. Brooke hasn't fought in 15 months. For Khan, it's nearly 3 years. They may struggle to go the distance.
I believe I'm gonna knock him out. I believe that he can't run for 12 rounds, and I will find his chin in them 12 rounds.
The first couple of rounds are going to be very technical. Once I get my rhythm, I think that's when I'll start hurting him, and I could see him quitting towards end of the fight.
10 stone, 7 pounds, 5 ounces. 10 stone, 8 pounds, 5 ounces.
Brooke is the bookies' favourite and today edged it on the scales, but this could boil down to desire and the fear of defeat. Losing a grudge match would weigh heavy on the loser. Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating night at the Manchester Arena. Now to football, though, and Storm Eunice is taking its toll on the fixture list. Barrow's League Two trip to Exeter has been postponed for safety reasons. High winds yesterday forced Manchester City's flight to divert to Liverpool. Pep Guardiola, whose team was returning from Lisbon, admits it was an anxious moment.
When I saw after the video, I said, wow, it was more scary than we felt that. It was bumping a lot, but like many times. But it was a moment like, we were going down and immediately the engines start to roll on and go up. In that moment, I said, oh, something happened.
Well, meanwhile, Ralph Rangnick has rubbish talk that he might replace Harry Maguire as Manchester United captain. Reports had suggested some of the players want Cristiano Ronaldo to take the armband.
I must say that this is absolutely nonsense. I have never spoken with any player about a possible change of captaincy, and Harry is fully aware of that, and so is Cristiano. It's me who decides who is the captain. Harry is our captain, and he will stay our captain until the end of the season.
Getting that winning feeling. FOW, sponsors of the Granada Sport Report.
Finally to Rugby League, and Wigan have their first home game of the new season against Leeds Rhinos tonight. It's Warrington who lead the early Super League table as new head coach Darryl Powell made it 2 wins from 2 thanks to a 34-10 victory over his old club, Castleford Tigers. But for many of us, the match will be remembered for this. The young driver known as Wizzy Rascal, who brought on the match ball for kick-off only to race straight past the players. After a quick bit of guidance, the young hot rod, whose identity is being kept secret by the club, turned back towards the kicker only to race straight past him again. Players and coaches found the funny side and eventually the ball was delivered. Wizzy Rascal, what a superstar. It's a girl, that's all we know. There's going to be a big reveal later in the season.
The first drive-by was funny, but it was the second one that made it comedy gold. Brilliant.
What
Thanks,
an
Chris.
Absolute legend. Fantastic. Thanks, Chris.
Now, Storm Eunice has been our top story tonight, and it is the same on the ITV News, which is coming up straight after us. Here's Mary with the headlines.
Storm Eunice smashes into the UK, leaving thousands without power. There have been record-breaking high winds in parts of southern England, and a major incident has been declared in London. In Wales, both 7 bridges are shut for the first time. And in Scotland and northern England, Eunice brings freezing temperatures and snow. We will have all the very latest at 6:30.
Right, well, next to a show that's had the nation hooked, The Masked Singer is without doubt the craziest show you'll ever see. And a 4th and 5th series have already been recommissioned because it's so popular, including with you, Michael Hall.
I've got to say, big fan. Me and my little girl loved that show on a Saturday night. The show's format originated in South Korea and shows celebrities singing behind extravagant masks and costumes, and we at home have to try and work out who they are.
Yeah, he's pretending that it's Emily who likes it, but it's not. It's definitely him. But now the show is heading on the road and it's going to premiere in Liverpool in the spring. And Caroline Whitmore has been catching up with one of the judges, actress and singer Denise Van Houten.
Denise Van Houten, how exciting is this? The first ever Masked Singer tour starting in Liverpool, and you're on the celebrity panel.
Do you know, I am so excited. I was part of the very first TV series, The Masked Singer. I was the fox. And I've been hooked on it ever since. I think the show itself is such a brilliant format. And to take a show like this that's so much fun and so interactive into big arenas, it's just going to be one hell of a party. I think that's why they get such amazing celebrity names and performers and recording artists on this TV show, because it's not a show where you're being judged your performance, it's a guessing game. Being part of the judging panel for me and being with lovely Aston, who's, brilliant fun, it messes with your head.
I saw you as Fox, and what I loved, you took the mask off and your lipstick was still immaculate. Your hair was fine after like a minute. How was it for you singing as Fox?
Well, I did have a bit of a sweaty head, but I think I managed to cover it up with a bit of a hair shake. As for the lipstick stain in place, I mean, that Fox head was so big that inside it was like having a motorcycle helmet on it. It did not even touch my face. Sometimes for singers, especially me, as you sing, you can end up pulling slightly funny faces. And you didn't have any of that worry. When you sing singers, they're like, oh, you don't have to worry when you've got a mask on. You can just go for it. Every show, there will be 2 celebrity guests. We'll have no clue who they are. We are kept completely separate from them. Collectively, within the arena, we'll all have to try and figure out who they are. Joel Dommett's our main host, as he is on the TV show. If you booked to, say, come and see us in Liverpool, but you decided that you'd also like to, maybe you love it so much you want to go and see it in Manchester, you'll get a completely different show.
What have you got around the corner, or can you not say?
My autobiography is finally coming out. Called A Bit of Me, about all my career, relationship. I mean, everything. From next week, I start recording again. And then I start work on a film next week that I'm doing. This British comedy with Jennifer Saunders and Ed Sheeran. So that'll be quite fun.
Busy.
I am busy, but it's a really good busy. Come to the tour, have a laugh.
Do you know what? You'll hear me going, take care, take care. We can't wait to see what celebrities you have up your sleeve for the tour, and best of luck.
Me too. I can't wait.
I think I'm going to get dragged to that one, Vicky.
You'll be there going, take it off, take it off with the best of them. Absolutely. You will. On to a more detailed look at the weather now. Here's Joe with the latest on the storms.
Now that is brew weather.
And only boiling what she needs.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Big up you, sis.
Hello again. We'll be continuing to feel the impacts of Storm Eunice over the next few hours, but by around 9 o'clock this evening, the most severe wind gusts will have eased down. It is going to be a very blustery weekend, though, with further spells of heavy rain, wintry showers and some snow in the mix. And for Sunday, warnings in place for heavy rain and wind again. Back to the details then. Low pressure very much in charge of things as we go into this weekend. Eunice will have departed. However, further fronts will be bringing spells of rain, strong winds, particularly during Sunday night and into Monday. It hasn't been named as a storm, but the system will bring a spell of heavy rain to the northwest of England and the Isle of Man. Back to this evening then, and over the next few hours, gradually winds beginning to ease down. We'll see temperatures plunging, and with water on the roads, it's likely there'll be widespread icy conditions across the region as we head into tomorrow morning, with further wintry showers up on higher ground in the Pennines and the Cumbrian Fells before dawn. On to tomorrow, a bit of a frosty start in places. The sun will be up at 7:23. Setting at 5:28 tomorrow evening. An icy start, so be careful if you're out and about. A band of rain moves up from the southwest first thing, and that will turn very wintry for a time. Parts of Cheshire, even Greater Manchester, the Peak District, will see some snow moving through. It's quite transitory though. It will move through quickly during tomorrow morning. However, more rain will begin to edge in from the west through the course of the day. It's damp. There's a cold feel to the day tomorrow, and it's quite blustery, not as windy as today. But as we look towards Sunday, yellow warnings in place for rain and wind for northwest England and the Isle of Man. Take care.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
2 sugars, please.
Oh, lovely.
Thanks, Joe. What a miserable day it has been. Whatever you're doing tonight, please do stay safe.
Yeah, and the same goes for the weekend. Thanks very much indeed for watching. From ourselves and all of the team here, wishing you a good night.
Good night.